Chorsonorns, don't do anything. Just rest and watch your dreams come to you. What if everything you were taught about success was wrong? What if the harder you push, the further away your dreams actually get? I know that sounds backwards. I know it goes against everything you've heard your whole life. But stay with me for a second, because what I'm about to share with you might completely change the way you see yourself and the path you're walking right now. There's a specific type of person watching this, and I think you already know that's you. You've been through things that don't make sense on paper. You've had seasons where no matter how hard you tried, doors kept closing. You've watched people around you seem to glide forward while you felt stuck, like you were spinning your wheels in the mud. And somewhere in all of that, you started to wonder if something was wrong with you, if maybe you were the problem. But what if you weren't the problem? What if you were actually in the middle of something far bigger than you could see from where you were standing? What if the very resistance you were feeling wasn't a sign that you were failing, but a sign that you were being prepared? I want to talk to you today about something most people will never understand. Not because it's complicated, but because it requires a kind of trust that most people aren't willing to have. It requires you to stop, to breathe, to rest, and to believe, even when there's no visible reason to believe, that what is yours is already on its way. Let me start by asking you something honestly. When did rest start to feel like a crime? When did doing nothing start to feel like laziness? Because somewhere along the way you absorbed this idea that your worth was tied to your hustle, that if you weren't grinding, you weren't deserving, that if you sat still, you were falling behind. And so you pushed and pushed and pushed some more, until your body was exhausted, your mind was foggy, and your spirit felt completely hollow. And the painful irony is that all that pushing, most of the time, it pushed your dreams further away, not closer. Here's something I want you to sit with. There is a difference between inspired action and desperate action. Inspired action flows. It feels almost effortless, even when it's hard work. It comes from a place of clarity and alignment. Desperate action, on the other hand, is frantic. It's frantic because it comes from fear. Fear that you're not enough. Fear that time is running out. Fear that if you stop moving for even a second, everything will fall apart. And fear, no matter how much energy it generates, is not a creative force. Fear is a contracting force. It closes you off. It narrows your vision. It actually makes you less capable of recognizing opportunities when they show up right in front of your face. Now I want to tell you about the concept of being a chosen one. And I don't mean that in some mystical way that removes your responsibility from your life. I mean it in a very practical, very real sense. There are people in this world who are wired differently. They feel things more deeply. They question things more deeply. They have a pull towards something greater than what their current circumstances suggest is possible. Maybe you've always had this feeling, this low hum in the background of your life, that you are here for something specific, that your story isn't over, that there's a version of your life that is so much bigger than what you're currently living. That feeling is not delusional. That feeling is data. But here's where chosen ones tend to struggle. They take that feeling and they try to force it into reality through sheer willpower. They think, I feel this calling, so I need to work harder, do more, be more, control more. And what happens? Burnout, disappointment, a kind of spiritual exhaustion that goes bone deep. Because the chosen path is not a forced path. It's a surrendered path. And surrender is one of the most misunderstood words in the personal development world. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. Surrender doesn't mean being passive. Surrender means releasing your grip on how things are supposed to look and trusting that what is aligned for you will arrive in the right form, at the right time, through the right door. Surrender means doing your part without obsessing over the outcome. It means planting the seed and then trusting the soil to do what soil does. Think about a tree for a moment. A tree doesn't strain and grunt trying to grow. It doesn't spend all night panicking about whether it's tall enough. It simply absorbs what it needs: light, water, nutrients, and it grows naturally, steadily. And the bigger the tree is meant to be, the deeper its roots have to go first. And while the roots are growing deep underground, the tree looks like nothing is happening. From the outside, it just looks like a small plant standing there. But underground, everything is being prepared. That's you right now. Some of you watching this are in a root-growing season, and you've been looking at the surface of your life, comparing it to other people's trees, wondering why you're not as tall as them yet. But your roots are going somewhere they can't even see. Your foundation is being built for a structure they can't even imagine. And the worst thing you could do right now is panic and start yanking yourself out of the ground, trying to force growth. Rest is not the opposite of progress. For a chosen one, rest is often the most productive thing they can do, because when you stop the frantic noise of doing, you create space. And in that space, you start to hear things. Intuitions that were drowned out by the chaos. Clarity that couldn't reach you through the fog of anxiety. Solutions that have been waiting patiently for a quiet moment to surface. Some of the most important decisions of my life didn't come to me when I was grinding at my desk at 2 a.m. They came in the shower, on a walk, in the middle of a moment when I had given myself permission to just be. There's a reason for that. Your subconscious mind doesn't work the way your conscious mind works. Your conscious mind is analytical, sequential, logical. Your subconscious mind is associative and creative, and it processes an enormous amount of information that your conscious mind never even registers. And your subconscious works best when you stop jamming it with urgent demands and anxious commands. When you rest, when you play, when you simply exist without agenda, your subconscious gets to work. It starts connecting dots. It starts finding paths. It starts preparing the ground for what's coming. This is why so many breakthroughs come after a period of stillness. This is why people have their best ideas right after a vacation or right after a good night's sleep. The rest wasn't a detour from the breakthrough. The rest was the incubation period that made the breakthrough possible. Now I want to address something real, because maybe right now you're in a situation that feels urgent. Maybe there are bills piling up. Maybe there's a deadline breathing down your neck. Maybe things are genuinely hard, and the idea of resting feels irresponsible, even dangerous. I hear you. I'm not telling you to be negligent. I'm not telling you to abandon your responsibilities. What I'm telling you is that even within your circumstances, there is a quality of being that you get to choose. You can be in action from a place of peace, or you can be in action from a place of panic. And the quality of your actions would be completely different depending on which place they come from. A person who is grounded and calm sees more clearly. They make better decisions. They notice the opportunity that the panicking person runs right past. They have the presence to recognize when a door is opening and the composure to walk through it without second-guessing themselves to death. So even when life is demanding a lot of you, you can practice a kind of internal stillness. You can breathe before you respond. You can pause before you decide. You can take 5 minutes in the morning to sit in silence before the world starts its requests. That internal stillness is not laziness. That is the foundation of everything. Let me talk about something else that I think is huge, and that's the idea of detachment. Because one of the things that blocks chosen ones from receiving what's theirs is that they are gripping their dreams so tightly that they're actually strangling them. They want it so badly that the wanting itself becomes the problem. The desperation creates a vibration of lack, a signal that broadcasts, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. And that signal tends to attract experiences that confirm it. Detachment is not about not wanting your dreams. Detachment is about wanting them without needing them to happen in a specific way by a specific time in order to feel okay. It's about coming to a place where you can genuinely say, I know what I desire, I'm taking aligned action, and I trust that what is truly for me cannot miss me. That last part, what is truly for me cannot miss me. Say that to yourself right now. Really let it land. Because here's the thing about divine timing that nobody wants to hear. The timing is not always your timing. And that's not a punishment. That's not the universe ignoring you. That's the universe arranging things in an order that serves you in ways you can't fully calc. You lake from your current vantage point. Think about some of the things in your life that didn't work out when you wanted them to. And then think about what actually happened instead. There are probably times you can look back on and see clearly that the thing you were begging for would have been wrong for the version of you that existed then. You needed more time, you needed more experience, you needed more healing, you needed more growth, and the universe was not cruel in delaying you. The universe was kind. The chosen ones who understand this stop fighting the timing. They stop treating every delay as a catastrophe. They start treating delays as development. They ask not why is this taking so long, but what am I being prepared for while I wait? And that shift in question changes everything, because now you're not a victim of the timeline. You're a student of it. I want to speak to the weariness too, because maybe you've been on this path for a long time. Maybe you've had faith for years and you're tired of having faith. Maybe you've been the person who keeps believing, keeps hoping, keeps doing the work, and you're running low. You're not sure how much longer you can hold on. I want you to hear this with everything I have. The weariness is not a sign to quit. The weariness is often a sign that you are the closest you've ever been to the thing you've been walking toward. It's darkest before dawn isn't just a cliché, it's a pattern. The contraction before the expansion, the exhale before the breath, the silence before the arrival. Rest is not retreat. Rest is reloading. Rest is getting quiet enough to receive what's trying to find you. Your dreams are not passive. They have an energy too. They are drawn toward the version of you that is ready to hold them. And readiness isn't always about doing more. Sometimes readiness is about releasing more. Releasing the fear, the doubt, the need to control, the exhaustion that comes from trying to carry everything on your own shoulders. When you rest, you signal something powerful to the universe and to yourself. You signal that you are not operating from scarcity. You signal that you trust. You signal that you believe in your bones, that what is meant for you does not require you to be in a constant state of panic to deserve it. And that trust, that peace, that groundedness, that is not doing nothing. That is doing the deepest and most important work. That is the work that most people never do, because most people can't sit still long enough to let it happen. So here is what I want to leave you with. You don't have to figure everything out today. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to force every door open. Some doors are going to open on their own. Some opportunities are going to come looking for you. Some connections are going to fall into your life at exactly the right moment and change everything.